Hello YouTube. I'm going to talk about real quick buying a used motorcycle. I'm doing this project for a marketing class I have where we're supposed to find an online ebook, a free ebook, and talk about how we could make it better. The one I read, because I'm a big motorcycle rider, was about buying a used motorcycle. And I'm going to talk about things, obviously, that weren't in the book. So in this short book I read, which is a free ebook from best-motorcycle-gear.com. It's a pretty good book. There were a few things in there that I wouldn't have thought to ask when buying a used motorcycle. But I'm going to talk more about um, what what you can see yourself on these bikes without having to ask the owner, because in some cases the owner's just going to tell you whatever you want to hear to get your money. Um, I've bought a number of bikes for my age. My first bike was a 2005 Suzuki SV650 that was flawless, and I wouldn't have been able to get that excellent used buy without my dad's help. The second bike I bought was a 1998 VFR 800, which had some problems. I promise it didn't look like that when I bought it. It looked considerably better, but not perfect. And from the small cosmetic damages I saw, I wasn't worried about it, but when I took it apart further, because I am doing some custom work with this bike, I realized that there was more wrong with it, and I guess just further motivation for me to do my custom work. The next bike I bought, even though I wanted to put all my money into that project, was a bike that I bought with my dad, one of his and I's favorite bikes, the Honda RC51, gorgeous bike. And then after that, I bought this ST1300 here, which I bought not running actually, but I took a number of steps to ensure that the owner was telling me the truth, that what he said was wrong with it were the only things wrong with it. So here are just a few real quick things to watch out for when buying a used bike. One of the first things, easiest things to look at, in my opinion, is the tire. This is my dad's Cruiser. He rides this bike pretty hard. You can see he doesn't have much chicken strip here. On the RC51 that he and I ride, there's even less. I measured it earlier. It's about half a centimeter, okay? Not much. That means that the rider of the bike you're buying, or the owner of the bike you're riding, is riding it really hard. I mean, laying it into the turns, which isn't a bad thing, but if he's telling you that he babies the bike, obviously he's not telling the truth. The next thing I look at, and the RC51 doesn't have him here, the FZ6 has him here. The next thing I usually look at are these little balls on the bottom of the peg. If those are ground flat, and mine do have a little flat spot in them, but if those are like just ground flat, then this guy's really riding it hard. And again, it's not a bad thing, doesn't mean he's crashed, but just kind of make sure he's not telling you that he babied it if you see these flat spots. The next thing I usually do is, and this is a little bit harder to do yourself, or do without experience, you have obviously your oil fill plug here. And if you've changed your oil a lot, you know what it smells like, you know what it feels like, all this stuff that's on there. It's cold, I haven't ridden it in a while. Then you know what oil smells like. And one of the things I do after the bike is warmed up, if I'm looking at a used bike I'm considering buying, is smelling the oil. If it smells burnt, that's a sign that somebody's, again, just riding it real hard. And these aren't signs that the bike isn't going to run, that it's going to break down on you. It may not, but they're signs that it's surely not perfect, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And the RC51 oil, I checked right here, right there, before I bought it. The next thing I usually look for, especially if the owner was telling me it hasn't been ridden in a while, which is this bike right here, is how much gas was it stored with. If you have a bike that hasn't been ridden in years and it's stored with half a tank, you're going to get a lot of rust in the tank, and that's why this bike wasn't running. It was a great little project for me, but if you're looking to buy something to ride, that's something to be careful of. Gosh, there were one or two more things. Let's see, we got the tires, we got the pegs, we got the oil, we've got What else? The gas tank. And again, these are all things that you can observe yourself. I mean, you don't have to ask the owner and trust that he's giving you the truth. There's got to be one. I know there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, right. The brakes. So this is real smooth, nice and smooth, as it should be. It's a common mistake to make to run your brake pads just past when they're down too far, so you have a little bit of metal on metal. I mean, it was a common mistake for me. I've done it before. I've had to replace one of these before. So you want to make sure you're not getting a bad disc, bad brakes. You want to make sure that these are smooth, because if they're not, I've had an inspector tell me he won't pass the bike. And I mean, those are just some real simple, easy signs to look over yourself. I mean, obviously, any scratches, damage, like that little nick right there, my sister dropped this bike. You got to ask the owner and hope that he or she gives you the right answer, or the truth. But hopefully, with these other things that you can observe yourself without relying on the owner, will give you a better idea of what kind of condition the bike is in. And the last thing, really quick, I just remembered, is the chain. Do check out the chain. If it looks a little wet and oily, it's probably a good sign that the owner kept it well lubed. If you see kinks in it, oops, sorry, that's obnoxious when people do that. If you see kinks in it, so that's straight. But if these were to be kinked that way, I can't do it. I can't do it. If these were to sit like that, naturally, where most of these are straight, but one of these is up, kind of like that, then that means the chain is really just not in good condition, and you should replace it. But yeah, just a few quick signs of what to look for yourself, and hopefully people don't get screwed buying used bikes. Good luck, guys. Ride safe.